podcast party. Memories of Holdenshire.
My name is Violet. My friends and I just woke up at the bottom of a crypt, and we have no idea how we got there. We may have joined a cult. We have escaped from the crypt and surprised a halfling gentleman on our way out. We also noticed that our faces are on wanted posters outside the crypt. I'm not very impressed with the likeness, to tell you the truth.
You ain't gonna cut out my kidneys or whatever cultists do, right?
No, we aren't. I mean, I'm not. Are you? I point to Violet.
Am I what?
Of course, neither of us. None of the four of us. I gesture back to the other two people who are stuck on the other side of the pit. We aren't, that.
He sort of gets up off the ground.
It's the robes, isn't it? I immediately start peeling off the robes. It's the robes, everyone! No, these aren't mine. I would never.
Yeah, take mine off.
I told you.
We sort of woke up in a pit, and we were all wearing these things. I don't know how we got these on.
Underneath his black robes, Mercury's actually wearing a long blue velvet coat, and inside it has a yellow lining with lots of stars and teacups embroidered into the lining. And he also has a long blue scarf. He says, this is more my cool tones and a flash of yellow. I gesture towards the robe that's piled at my feet. We don't, these ever, really, would we?
Oh, I quite liked it, actually, but, it's not mine.
It was very useful.
That's an awful likeness. I look over his shoulder. Is my forehead really that big?
He sort of looks back and forth. He's like, I mean, it's artist's rendering. He looks down one side of the alleyway and looks down the other side of the alleyway. He says, I think we might want to keep our voices down just a little bit. So it looks like you guys are, like, in need of help, it looks like.
Yes, there's a bit of a pit situation.
Yes, I just want to stick my head out into the alley and see if I see anything that might look helpful as far as reinforcing the bridge or, more solid than the wooden planks that we found.
The door that you've just come out of has opened out of some kind of long wall. This halfling sort of looks at you, looking around. He goes, hey, listen, you look like you're in trouble with those two folks, those, in the inimitable finger quotes, not cultists, right? So totally fine, I get it. I'll help you out if you need my help.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Thank you.
Something a bit sturdier, perhaps, to lay across the pit.
Oh, you got a pit situation. Okay, yeah, okay. Stay there, I'll be right back. And he hustles down the side of the alleyway and disappears around the corner.
Gwyven would like to look around the walls where he is right now to see if there's some sort of catch or lever or something, because the pit trap needs some sort of reset.
That's exactly what I was going to look for. Like, now that I'm on this side of it, is there like a springboarded floor that...
That's exactly right. What you see is on the side of the pit, there's a false floor that is sort of hanging down on both sides of the pit. They're each about 5 feet long and are hanging down into the pit.
Gwyven, if we could pull those up, maybe you could use your pitons to jam it back up, to jam it back in place, closed?
Well, first, is there any sort of a catch or lever or device or...
Make a perception check.
That's a 22.
You don't see any catch or lever or anything like that in the immediate vicinity. The only way to reset it would be to manually pull these doors back up.
Is there any obvious way of doing that?
You could just try to reach for it. It's about 5 foot down.
But then the trap would still be there.
Right, but I'm saying if we pull it closed again, if we pulled them closed again and you jammed the pitons like into the sides, like where the seams of the floor hit the wall, then it shouldn't have enough clearance to be able to fall in again. It should be tight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, can we reach down and pull them up?
I say, Slingbet, maybe you can hook it with your harpoon and pull it back? Pull the floor back up?
Probably, yeah. And Slingbet will step forward and try and use the hook part of the harpoon to latch around the bottom edge of one of these pieces that is hinged down.
Okay.
And try and pull it back up to straight.
Even if we can just get the side on your side to jam back up, then it's just 5 feet. You can probably just jump it.
Yes, I have concerns about whether this is going to stay under my weight at all.
Right.
I won't make you roll for it, Slingbet. I'll just say that after a certain amount of attempts, you are able to pull up the 5-foot side of the floor that is closest to you. That halfling comes running back around the corner, holding over his head. He's got a door.
Ah!
Oh.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh, marvelous. That's way better.
Don't ask. It fell off a truck. And then he shoves past you, Violet, and eventually you, Mercury. He's like, coming through. Ah, okay. Oh my God, this place is awful. Wow. Oh, nice. He looks over at the fact that you've pulled up 5 feet of the flooring. He says, now if I just lay this down like on top of this amazingly well-constructed bridge that you guys have made, I think that should do it.
So on our side, I'm going to jam the pitons into the edges and wedge it up.
It is wedged.
What is your name, sir? I asked the halfling.
He says, my name is Belton. Belton Freedo.
Ah,
Pleased to
charmed.
meet you.
Pleasure to meet
I'm
you.
Mercury. While they're making their way across, Matt, I'd like to step out into the alley and just start pulling down all of the wanted posters off of the wall.
There's a lot. It might take us some time.
Just pull as many as I can. I start, especially the ones with me.
Some are a little higher than your reach, but you get the ones that are, added around your height.
Seeing that it's futile, eventually I just stop.
Belton, have you heard of people being sort of kidnapped and then brought here and then those people waking up in black robes and such? Has this ever happened before?
Okay, how long have...
It's a matter of memory, Belton. We seem to be missing some of it, including the part where we arrived here.
His eyes open wide, and he says, well, you lost your memory.
Yes. Certain rather crucial bits, I'm afraid.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's talk in probably less obvious circumstances, yeah? So, let's get all your folks out first, yeah?
Yes, come along, Gwyven.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go across the door.
You make it across with no problem whatsoever.
Slingbet waits until he's sure that Gwyven is safely across, and then very carefully makes his way across, as he is a lot heavier than most of the rest of us. Slingbet is a whole 275 pounds.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Wow.
serious business.
Gwyven 73.
Thus his concern about the construction of our bridge.
And as you exit from this area, you end up in the bright sunshine and hustle and bustle of what seems to be a major metropolitan area. You can see smokestacks in every direction. You seem to be positioned along a very long wall from which you have emerged.
And as Slingbet steps outside, I would like to do one of his special things.
Do it.
Ooh. He has an internal clock. So by observing the environment on the material plane, he can estimate the time of year down to within a week of the actual date. And if he is outside, he knows the time of day.
All right.
So as he steps out into the street, he would like to take a look around and try and figure out basically how much time has passed since he last knew and what time of day it is.
It's about noon in whatever city that you're in. You're not quite sure, but you can tell just by the sort of position of your environment, the smell of the air, the way the trees look, that it's about a month
Whoa.
since you last remember being in Hengistbury.
Whoa.
So Slingbet looks around and says, guys, I think we've been missing for a while.
Like, what?
Like a month.
What?
No. That's silly.
No, I know these things.
What spell could have done that?
You guys have been wanted criminals for a while.
I can't have lost a month. I have affairs to attend to.
I'm not a criminal. No.
Somebody's trying to pin something on us.
Yes.
Well, thankfully you're in Redwall, so you don't have to worry about the guard.
And I'm guessing that is... I close my eyes and sniff the air. Mundane. Normality. The prime material. Don't worry, everyone. Prime material plane.
Yes.
Have we ever heard of Redwall?
Make a history check.
Gwyven rolled an 18.
Slingbet has a whole 3.
Violet got a 15.
And Mercury got a 7.
So Gwyven and Violet, you are very much aware of what Redwall is. Redwall is an area of a rather sizable city. That city is called Northminster. Redwall is an area so called because it is literally an area just outside of the massive wall that encircles the Northminster Abbey, which is the most sizable and obvious structure within Northminster.
That's probably what we've just emerged from.
Yes, yeah.
That's right. And based on your history check, I would say, Violet, you remember that Redwall is a rather lawless area of the city. The guard, which is quite prevalent in other areas of the city, does not tend to patrol around Redwall, mainly due to the fact that a lot of criminal elements seems to hang out around there.
Well, we're very lucky that we met you, Belton. You wouldn't just be helping us so that you could turn us in for some sort of reward, would you? I mean, you're...
Me? No, absolutely not. I mean, I'm out for my fellow people in need. You look like you're people in need, and hey, I could get you, 2 safer climbs, so to speak.
You'd be surprised, Belton. I'm really quite at home in this plane. I've visited many times. I know, for example, that metal is often exchanged for currency instead of souls. You've got to speak with your mouth as opposed to just sending brain waves at everyone. And unfortunately, you've got to cobble things together with a bit of pottery and a bit of mud instead of just thinking them into existence. So as you see, I've already got a leg up.
Wow, like 90% of what you just said just did not make any sense to me at all.
Do you know anybody who might know anything about this? Who do you suggest we speak to?
About what?
Well, this predicament. Who might have, kidnapped us and left us down there?
Yeah, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. Captain of the Guard's been trying to stamp out this cult for weeks. If you're talking about your memories... He sort of scratches his head.
Captain of the Guard, did she look rather like, cold iron armor, and I describe the woman that we saw die earlier?
He says, well, no, the Captain of the Guard's a man. His name is Tariq Crestvale.
Do you recognize the woman that I've described?
Or this, and Tlingbet shows the hammer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I say, Minori Lucio. And I make a minor illusion of like a still picture of the person.
he sort of gasps and he says, oh boy, yeah, that's a problem. You said that woman, she's down where you were guys were from?
Yes, she saved our lives.
She's down at the bottom of this crypt.
Have you ever seen a half-waspy sort of half-human thing?
I don't know what you're talking about, lady, but that woman, she had that warhammer.
Yes.
Okay, that's a problem.
You know her?
I know of her. Only by reputation, to be perfectly honest. Her name is Anker Crestvale. She's Tariq's sister.
Oh.
Yeah.
We think she may have saved us from some creature. An insect creature.
Unfortunately, and he puts his fingers to his throat and does the sort of cutting motion.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, shit.
Yes, now, Belton, I need you to focus for a moment, Belton. You've been incredibly helpful. Quite the gentleman. Now, as I see it, there are two priorities. Number one, I pointed all the wanted posters. That's a problem. So I'd like to be as far from those as possible. Number two, our memories are missing. Do you know someone, perhaps someone of arcane persuasion?
Yeah. I was just trying to remember things when you guys talked to me about the broad down in the...
Well, all right, she's not a broad. She's
all right, wait a minute here. Mercury,
Yes.
you've been carrying around a handful of fire the entire time I have known you. It is a wall of paper. Why do you not just burn it?
I'm afraid the smoke might draw attention.
Okay, that makes sense.
I'm going to call it even now for me taking a little bit longer to twig to the fact that was a crypt.
I feel like that was much more obvious.
Belton snaps his fingers and he goes, apple pie!
Pardon?
I do like apple pie.
Beg your pardon, apple seed. Yeah. Granny Appleseed.
Belton, are you having a medical episode?
No.
Do you smell toast, Belton?
Oh, boy. He says, no. Just listen. You guys want help or not?
No, yes, very much. Sorry.
Okay. So allow me to, please. He says, Granny Appleseed is this weird old woman. She lives out in the Weirwood. My cousin, he took a really nasty wallop and went all sort of thick in the head, could barely talk. And Granny Appleseed did some magical what's-its, and he was all better, and eventually beating me at cards again. Now, if there's anybody who can fix your memories, it'll be Granny Appleseed. I mean, she lives in the Weirwood, which is way out of the city, too, which is good for you, because the longer you stay around here, the better chance Captain Tariq is going to catch you and lop off your heads.
Yes, this is good point.
That sounds bad, yes.
Yeah. Now, here's the catch, folks. I'm a businessman. I can't get you out of Northminster for free. Exactly. I kind of I'll need your help with a few things before we can get out of here.
What sort of things?
All right. Fantastic. Are you potentially all willing to assist?
I'm willing to listen.
Don't want to speak for everyone, but I feel like we've got very limited options.
Can I ask if this guy's full of crap?
Absolutely. Insight check.
I have next to this detecting lies, so that means it's a specialty, I think.
That is
All
indeed a
right.
specialty. Yeah.
That is a total of 17.
Yeah, you do not detect any lies.
Seeing as I've now spoken to him for a minute, would like to use my fashion sense on him.
I love that that's a thing. That's so great.
15 against his passive deception.
That beats it.
I know whether his charisma score is better or worse than mine.
What is your crisp score?
15.
Worse.
Okay, and I know his culture and national origin, if any, and his social standing in the local majority culture.
I think I can guess.
It's pretty obvious. We're talking sort of like middle tier criminal here.
Gotcha. Okay, again, I don't say anything out loud, just looking at him.
He says, listen, we all have our things to do. I need to get you folks out, and I'm kind of a little bit in it myself here in Northminster, so if you need my help to get you out of here, I think I can find a way of getting us all out of this mess in one way or another.
Well, I'm sure we're all glad to hear that, Belton.
Fine. So listen, the town guard is basically gonna execute you if you just turn yourselves in, so we're all gonna need to sneak out of the city. I need just a few things before I can smuggle you out of Northminster. I'll just sort of rattle them off real quick. They're all within the general vicinity, so you don't have to go too far.
Oh, great.
So there's this guy named Dr. Tin Bellows. I need to get a couple things from his shop. Yeah, I'm gonna need like a few strips of dried Uclaw bark from Dr. Tin Bellows. Don't ask me what it's for. Trust me, I need it. Second thing, let me think. Oh yeah, mugs and runs, these goblins. They owe me 20 gold, and I don't really want to skip town without them having to pay me back. So it would be great if you folks could somehow or other get the money that I am so duly owed. And last but not least, there's this place nearby, and he points over his shoulder to the left. Nice little general store called the Thrifty Gryphon. That's where you'll meet me when all this is all done. And if you need any supplies, be my guest, go in there and buy what you need. Considering that some of you have cloaks and some of you don't, I'm gonna go and get a cloak for those of you who don't really have one, probably to conceal your faces a little better, just in case, someone sees you and kind of outs you. You know what I mean?
Yes, good idea. I have one.
I could use one that is not this weird cultist one.
So now that I've listed sort of my needs, how do you folks feel? You good with it? Or, I mean, you can certainly take your chances on your own.
So when you say you need this stuff from this doctor's shop, you need us to go pick up something for you? Or is it like you need us to go, wink, wink, pick up something for you?
Oh, no. Dr. Tin Bellows is he's good people. He's good people. He'll sell it to you. I'm just, at this point in time, kind of out of pocket. If any of you are hurt, Dr. Tin Bellows, he'll take care of you. He's got a medical practice.
But you don't actually have the money to pay him. You want us to pay him.
There you go.
for
You
get
got
this
it.
Stuff.
You 100%. I need the money.
Would this doctor accept a promissory note?
I don't think so. Most doctors kind of work on coin.
What about from the captain of the guard?
What do you mean?
I say, well, I've got something right here. Start fumbling around in my pockets. I am in possession of a forgery kit And I also have this feature called Many Identities. I have a bundle of forged papers of all kinds. Property deeds, ID papers, love letters, letters of recommendation, all only needing a few flourishes to meet a current need. I can add a forged, modified copy of any new document or letter to my bundle.
That is great. I love it.
You could certainly try it. I mean, who knows what this doctor might want or need.
Yeah, I would like to say by order of Captain Tariq Crestwall. Is that the name we were given?
Crestvale.
Crestvale?
Yes.
Tariq Crestvale, Captain of the City Guard of Redwall. For the benefit of Redwall and its citizens, I hereby requisition... What the fuck does he want? 10 U-barks?
U-claw bark.
10...
Dried U-claw bark.
Strips of dried U-claw bark, as many as Belton tells me that he needs.
Yeah, as you're writing it in, Belton sort of looks over your shoulder. He goes, no. It's not. Redwall's the area. This is the city of Northminster.
Sorry.
That's okay. Just start it again, I guess.
Start
Whatever,
over. I'll just apply my Tipex to that.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
But I get your point. It's not bad. I mean, hey, who knows? 10 bellows might go for it.
Okay. So I will try to make that requisition notice from my kit of bullshit papers.
I love it.
I have a question. Alternatively, if we happen to get your 20 gold pieces from the goblins first, would you mind us using some of that to get your U-claw bark?
He sighs. He goes, I mean, technically, it would be mine. Yeah. Yes. I will say yes. Yes.
Okay, so one way or another, we'll get you your bark.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Are we about to do crime?
Define crime, honestly.
Merely the redistribution of certain items from those who have them to those who need them.
I would just more call this like, he sort of scratches, I would call it more like dangerous, sneaky shopping than crime, honestly.
I don't like it. But I don't like any of this. There are many things I don't like right now. Slingbet takes a moment as we're standing here, out of the way to take this, now that he's taken off the cultist cloak, just to use the fabric to kind of wrap up the warhammer so that it's nicely concealed and store that in a pack somewhere.
I say elves are always trustworthy. I take out my disguise kit and I start applying makeup to myself to make myself look less like a tiefling and more like an elf.
Okay. What did you do about the horns?
Yeah, the trick is a hat, which I've got a lavish collection of here in my disguise kit. I put on like a big, floppy, wide-brimmed hat. And then, of course, the most painful element is the binding of the tail, you see, because elves don't have them.
Right.
But I've got this sort of, it's like a...
If you run it down one pant leg...
Yes, no, I've tried that, but I've found that this sort of corset waistcoat thing is a better idea. Sort of wrap it tightly around my torso and then tie it down like this. Oh, that's smart. Yes, and then the makeup is really the easiest part.
Sure sounds like it.
But I think doctors always trust elves and never trust tieflings, so there you are.
Horrible. So, anywho, he sort of looks at the watch that does not exist on his wrist, and he says, I'm going to go, and I will see you at the Thrifty Griffin when you're all done. I'm just going to hang out there, see if I can get us some conveyance. Good luck.
Thank you, Belton.
Points at the four of you.
So,
Yes.
do you have access to these tools by any chance?
Why would you suddenly expect that I would have access to thieves' tools? My goodness, I am shocked.
I'm shocked as well.
Okay, do you?
Have you got them, though?
He says, listen. He says, you're in Redwall, baby. All you gotta do is just head over to the Thrifty Griffin and buy some. They have them there.
Oh, thank you.
Right on. See you. And he sort of like finger guns the four of you and then backs out through the alleyway and out of sight.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're enjoying Podcast Party Memories of Holdenshire, presented by Cast Party and EN Publishing. For this series, we're using LevelUp Advanced 5th Edition. For more info on these cool new rules and enhancements for your 5th edition D&D games, visit levelup5e.com. The show will be back shortly for the second half. If you're a new listener and you're enjoying this adventure, you should also check out Podcast Party, Descent into Avernus, as Dungeon Master Matt Gordon leads us to hell and, hopefully back, in a quest to save the stolen city of Elturel from eternal damnation. We have almost 2 years of episodes available now, and new episodes come out right in this feed every other Monday. Hey, have you ever wanted to use magic to force a law enforcement officer to dance like our heroes did in this episode? Well, Cast Party's professional dungeon masters are available to hire for online games. We have games for kids as well as adults, and our DMs can run almost any of the official Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition adventures, as well as third-party adventures, and a few we've created ourselves. Check us out at cast-party.com and follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, or on TikTok at cast_party. As always, we're offering monthly free online adventures with our Dungeon Masters. These games fill up quickly, so if you'd like to grab a spot, you should join our email list or our Discord server. Links to both can be found at cast-party.com. You can now watch episodes of Podcast Party on YouTube, complete with artwork, battle maps, character portraits, and even a little bit of animation. You can also now catch episodes of our monthly chat show, Power Word Talk, on our YouTube channel as well. Check out the show notes for a link or visit cast-party.com. Finally, just a reminder that in the December episode of Power Word Talk, we'll be discussing Year 2 of Podcast Party Descent into Avernus and answering listener questions. If you have a question you'd like answered on the show, you can email it to info@cast-party.com. If you enjoy Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. Message us on social media or email us at info@cast-party.com. Follow us on Facebook at CastPartyDND, on Twitter at CastParty2, on Instagram at cast_party, or on TikTok at cast_party. Thanks very much for listening. And now, back to our adventure on the road to the Weirwood.
I have concerns about this man.
Me too, but I suppose better the criminal you know.
You seem terribly hopeful, if you ask me.
He did get us a door.
He did, but he also told us where to meet him, and there's a bounty on all of our heads.
Yes, well, I was trying to deal with that, and I pulled out a few more of the wanted posters. Easily 15 to 20% fewer of these posters than there were when we arrived in this alley.
You look very different now.
I say, yes, just a moment. I get very serious and still, and I put my index finger to the center of my forehead, and I'm going to use my Unfickle Fate ability.
All right, what does that do?
Just having a look at the future. I touch a willing creature, which can be myself, and grant a premonition, which it remembers for 1 hour, or until it uses the premonition, to re-roll one ability check, attack roll, or saving throw.
Cool.
Nice.
Who do you give that to?
Myself.
And you can do that how often?
Once per long rest.
Fantastic.
I'd like to go to the doctor's, Dr. Tinberlos.
But we have no money for him.
But we've got this. I show the requisition notice.
Okay, but if we go to the goblins first and get the money, then if your notice doesn't work, then we can just pay the man.
And if it does work, then we can just keep it.
Oh, we have to give it back to Belton.
Do we? We've spent it on the U-Claw bark, haven't we?
Slingbet just kind of like puts his face in his hands for a moment and says, "We're going to do crime, aren't we?"
It's so cynical and tragic the way people take advantage of one another, but what can you do? It's civilization.
Except
I don't make
you just
the rules.
wrote that note in front of him.
Oh yes, well it didn't work. Tragic. Just as Slingbet suspected.
You know, these posters, they make me look like an iguana.
I know, it's very insulting.
Slingbet just like kind of shakes his head, clearly not capable of dealing with this right now, just focusing on the posters again. My eyes are not that shape. They make me look like a lizard.
We do need to accomplish both things to satisfy the deal, so since we have to do both things anyway, maybe it is better to get these money from these goblins. to have it, you know?
I say, all right, if you'd prefer to have a word with the goblins first, I don't object.
I'd prefer to just not have to do any of this, but I feel like I feel like that's not really an option right now.
Unfortunately, Tlingbet, my dear Tlingbet, sometimes you've just got to play the hand you're dealt. Don't worry, we're really operating in my element now. Crypts are not my element, but civilization very much is.
Well,
I couldn't agree more.
I will be happier once we're out of the city. So let's do the things that we need to do to get out of here. I don't like this place.
Well, it doesn't like us, so I suppose the feeling's mutual.
Did he say where these goblins were? I didn't catch that.
He did mention in passing that the goblins seem to hang out at a place sort of on the northern side of Redwall, at a place called the Whistling Well. It's sort of on the northeast corner.
Which of the destinations that he wanted us to visit is closest?
The Thrifty Griffin.
And that's kind of the last place we should go, right? Because that's where we're supposed to buy stuff.
That's convenient.
Okay, so, bright goblins?
Sure.
Goblins.
Let's keep to the alleys, shall we?
All right. You wind your way through the alleys along the wall to the northeastern section of Redwall. There is, in fact, a sort of stone well in the middle of what seems to be some kind of a small square. The well walls dilapidated, with several spots now crumbling onto the street. As you approach the well, it emits a very sort of strange, almost like a wailing, almost a whistling sound, which obviously gives the well its name, the Whistling Well. As you approach the well, you do happen to see that there are, in fact, two goblins. One of them is kind of a larger goblin. He's probably about 4.5 feet tall, a little bit taller than you, Gwyven. And the other one is short and thin. The larger one of the goblins wears a sort of oversized wool sweater and a bowler cap. And the smaller of the two goblins wears a trench coat and has this sort of sharp grin and beady eyes.
I love them.
Sorry, can I just have taken a few of the wanted posters with us? I know there were-
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Just occurs to me that there's two sides to this wanted criminal thing. Morning, gents. We're here to collect from our mutual friend, Belton. Here, you owe him something.
When you drop the name Belton, the goblins sort of stare at you, and the larger of the two goblins, smoking this cigar, he starts chewing it a bit, spits out the butt, says, "That lousy snuff was nothing but copper box sniffs, cut with a sliver of the good stuff. We ain't paying yous nothing, neither." And as he says that, the shorter of the two goblins, the wiry one with the trench coat, says, "Yeah, nothing."
I say, see here, Governor. I'm doing you a favour, like, right? It's like, I want things to go smooth as silk between us, but things could get very nasty very quickly. And I turn my body away from my companions and I unfurl the wanted poster of Tlingbet. I say, I'd hate to have to feed you blokes to the dangerous cultist. I indicate with my head over my shoulder to Tlingbet.
Tlingbet looks at the goblins. I don't quite know what's going on, but I do have a terrible allergy that makes me sneeze sometimes. And he just kind of like rubs his nose a little bit and sniffles a little bit. And it's a terrible, terrible goblin allergy.
What he's trying to say is he likes to bite the shit out of some goblins. So don't give him a reason.
I get the sneezes. And you know what happens when I get the sneezes, right? Yeah, it's a bad time for everybody. You don't want me to have allergies.
You won't like him when he's allergic.
Oh, boy.
He's allergic to controlling himself.
So the larger of the two goblins sort
You
of...
see that? He's got the death sentence on 7 systems.
Oh, boy. We're going in that direction. The larger of the two goblins looks at you, Tlingbet, and then looks over at you, Mercury, and says, "I don't like the sound of any of that." And I'd like either you, Tlingbet, or you, Mercury, to make a single roll. Either a deception check or intimidation check. However, the intimidation check will have to come from Tlingbet, And the deception check will have to come from Mercury. And deception will be normal, right? That's charisma. But the intimidation check, Tlingbet, that's a strength intimidation check.
So as Tlingbet is like, rubbing his nose and the like, he does have a dragon breath ability that is lightning based. So there may be some, a spark or two there as he's, rubbing his nose and claiming he's a little.
Mm-hmm.
I am pretty good at deception. I'm not sure how your intimidation strength is.
Tlingbet is obviously a very young dragonborn and really not that intimidating. So go for it.
Okay. All right. I will try the deception. Can I have advantage since a lot of people are doing things to help me?
I will allow that.
Okay, first attempt is a 10. But hang on. Dirty 20.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
The two goblins look at each other. The larger one takes his cigar and drops it on the street and stubs it out with his boot. And he says, this ain't worth the trouble. Come on, Runs. Yeah, let's, just fucking leave. Just fucking leave. All right, fine. Let's go. And he
You've done the right thing, my son.
He takes a pouch and he just unhooks it from his belt and he throws it on the ground.
All right, have a nice morning.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
You better run.
The goblins disappear out of sight.
I just feel terrible we couldn't recover Belton's money.
What? What are you talking about?
Pick it up and put it in my pocket. I say, so, I believe we've got an appointment with a doctor?
To the doctor.
You ask around as to where the Tin Bellows practice is, which you are guided by various members of the community, is actually on the eastern side of Redwall. So it takes you about half an hour to sort of work your way over there. And when you finally arrive, it's pretty clear because it proudly displays a sign that seems literally ripped from what you would assume to be a proper storefront and then just tacked onto the door.
Mm-hmm.
And it says Tin Bellows Medical Practice.
I step up to the door and I frantically rap, knocking in rapid succession on the door.
You do so, you hear a voice from the inside.
Who is it?
Please, Dr. Tin Bellows, there's an emergency. Captain Tariq has sent for help, but please, it's very important. Please open up.
The door is thrown open, and you see a dwarf. This dwarf has a shock of white hair, and his beard is also streaked with white. His nose is long and almost sort of pincer-like. It has sort of like an immediate cleft in the middle of it, and his eyes are green. And he looks at all of you, and you see that he's sort of dressed in somewhat ragged clothing, but at one point in time, I would say just from your and Gwyven's just immediate impression of him, that these clothes were probably of high quality at one point in time.
What do you mean? Who's in need of assistance?
There's been a terrible acid accident, magic of some sort. I don't know what's going on, but just look. I point down at my injured feet, and I say,
Gwyven does the same, shows his feet.
yeah, look at his feet too. It's a very complicated problem, but Captain Tariq said we should give you this straight away, and I hand him the requisition order that I faked.
Make a deception check with advantage.
Okay, first attempt is a 9, but hang on. Second attempt is a 22. That's a natural. Yeah.
He looks at the forged note that you've made, and he says,
Oh, good gods! Do you need attention, young elf? I don't know if you do. Please.
Oh, have you got anything for acid burns for me and my friend? We've been victimized. We've been victimized. I think it might be a cult. It could have been a cult that did it.
Oh, yes. Many a cult member has been seen in the area. Please come in. My ministrations take very short periods of time. If you need medical attention, I will give you a discount.
I say, come in, Grunk. Oh, only Dr. Tin Bellows can help us. I pull in Gwyven after me.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance. Sorry, please, you must remove your boots.
Yes, I'm sorry. My friend is a little slow, so please forgive him if he does anything untoward.
Who are you gesturing at when you say
Gwyven?
Okay.
Yes, my feet, ouch.
Yes, he can pretty much just say one-syllable words like that. That's
Ouch.
not part of the acid, though. He's always been that way.
Oh, I understand. Some dwarves, well, they're just touched, aren't they?
All right, well, let's not be
I'm a dwarf. I can say it.
Can you?
Yes, I can. I am a doctor after all. Anyway, please.
And he sort of looks at your feet and he sees the acid burn. He says, "Oh my,
give me a moment.
He turns around to a closet, which he opens up, and there are just vials upon vials upon vials of various substances. And he sort of reaches up, and he grabs one at about eye level, and he says,
It burns and it burns. Yes, it burns. Yes, of course. This may sting just a bit.
And he takes out a vial, he uncorks it, and he begins to sort of dribble a lightish green goo, which dribbles onto your foot, and you begin to feel just like a tingling sensation.
Oh, that's the stuff.
He says, just give it 5 minutes. It'll go away, I promise.
And in fact, he says,
yes, it's just the both of you, yes?
Yes, these others just came to make sure we survived the journey on our acid-burned feet.
Yes, I'm sorry to hear that it was only the two of you.
He sort of says that almost under his breath. He says,
business is bad.
Ouch.
Each of you get back 1 hit point.
I'll take it.
He says, that'll be 50 silver. I'm giving you at a discount price.
Of course, I reach into the money bag that we just got from the goblins, and that'll be 1 gold piece total. So I give him a gold piece.
Ah, very good, very good. Yes. Well, I'm glad I could be of assistance. You said that there were others.
He points at the note. He says,
Captain Tariq, yes, Captain Cressvale.
Yes, he just urgently is requisitioning whatever you've got. I didn't actually read the order myself, so I'm not sure what he's asking for, but he just said that you should let us know how much it costs, and then when the emergency is passed, he will be back here to compensate you.
I see. Yes, of course.
He unfurls the note. He says,
you, Clawback? That's strange.
Have I heard of that? Do I know?
You could make a nature check.
Or do I have some
Likewise,
ideas.
yeah.
You could certainly all make nature checks.
I think it's drugs.
Gwyven rolled a 12.
With a 6, Mercury has no idea what that is.
Slingbet has a 16 and might actually know something for once.
And Violet got an 18.
Tlingbet and Violet, you know what Uclaw bark is for. Uclaw bark, when it's distilled, makes a very, very potent liquor. They're actually not really allowed in Northminster because it's above a certain limit, so to speak. So it's usually smuggled into and out of Northminster because, well, they're very hard to come by and somewhat illegal, to be honest. They really do a number on you.
He says, Captain of the Guard, I guess, have its privileges, but... Anyway, 5 Uclaw bark. I don't know why that's needed, but so see... Okay, give me a moment. I have to go down to the cellar.
He closes the door.
Before he comes back, how organized is his shelf or cabinet of potions and stuff?
Pretty well organized.
So if 1 or 2 were taken, it would be obvious.
I mean, you could certainly try to find out.
Well, if there's like 300 of them in there, he might not notice a couple in the back gone. But if there's 4, he would probably notice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he has definitely less than 300, but more than 4.
So you're not helping me out here.
It doesn't look like a jumble, though. It looks organized. Like
yes, very much so. This is a shop.
Okay. Do I recognize anything super valuable as far as potions or liquids go?
Make an investigation check, but make it a disadvantage because you're doing it in a very hurried fashion.
Okay. So my first attempt is a 19. And a 20 is even better. So worst roll is a 19.
Super duper. Yeah, I mean, doing a quick scan, you see a couple of healing potions. Those would be pretty expensive. They would be about 50 gold.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. In my inventory, this is part of my background thing, I have a whole bunch of bottles filled with multicolored liquid. And what it is really is extremely strong alcohol.
Yep, it is.
But I want to try to select one that looks of similar size and shape to the healing potion and do a substitution. And I take one from like the back of the rack. So like maybe he won't reach for that bottle for like a few weeks.
I'm going to go ahead and say make a deception check with that one. It could be either intelligence or dexterity. Or you could make a case for maybe even a wisdom check using that.
Okay.
Does Tlingbet see our good friends casing the joint and perhaps swapping things out.
18.
Let me answer Talingbet's question first. Talingbet, what's your passive perception?
My passive perception is a 12.
I would say you probably do not see that, considering the deception roll on that.
All right.
Based on your deception roll of switching vials, you're able to grab a healing potion and put one of your
Solid.
liquor vials in its place.
Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and add a healing potion to my inventory.
Just in time, too, because Dr. Tinbellows comes up, throws the door open, and says,
Well, dried claw bark was hard to find, but I guess I'll just have to chalk it up to Captain Tariq's little vices, yes?
You know best, Doctor.
Yes, well, we'll have to bring this up with the magistrate, but what have you? Here you are.
and he takes a bundle of what seems to be very pungent roots wrapped in paper and twine and hands it off to you.
And just a receipt, so I make sure that everything is completely on the up and up.
Yes, of course, receipt.
Runs to a desk, takes out a piece of paper, just hastily scribbles Dr. Tinbellows 5 Uclaw bark, 5 gold IOU.
That is a lovely signature, Doctor, that you've got.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
No, thank you. I don't think I'll forget that signature in a hurry. I take the receipt.
Okay, let's get out while the getting's good.
All right, you have rolled out of Dr. Tinbellows' shop. So 2 down, 1 to go.
Okay, so refresh me. Oh, this is just we're supposed to buy stuff if we need it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Thrifty Griffin.
Mm-hmm.
As we're making our way back through the streets, Tlingbet just kind of whispers, why are we doing crime? There is no reason for us to have done crime.
I show Tillingbeth the wanted poster, and I say, haven't you heard? We're criminals.
No, we're
It's
we're
important
not.
to live up to people's expectations, Tillingbeth.
But I don't want to be a criminal.
You aren't really. You aren't at heart, you know. We're just in a tough spot and we need to get out without being seen. And this man, well, this halfling can sort of help us do that. And then you can quickly resume your life of non-crime. Safely.
But we could have just not done crime at all. We could have just paid the man.
Did you have that much money?
What was it, like 5 gold?
Let me look at the, yeah, is that what it says on the receipt?
It does.
Yes.
Why did we not just pay the man?
I'm shocked that you would misappropriate our generous friend Belton's money and spend it on drugs.
To buy his roots or bark or whatever. You don't think that it's...
You're right. It's wrong of Belton not to pay for that. I'm going to deduct it from the amount that we will be giving to Belton. That's count out 5 gold pieces. You're absolutely right. Belton should not get this for free, and that's a lesson for him. And I transfer 5 gold pieces to my own pocket.
Of course. Man.
Justice is served.
Well, now, but the doctor didn't get paid.
That's really the fault of Captain Tariq, I think, if you've been following the narrative.
Why
Come
are we
along,
doing-
everyone.
Jesus Christ. It's now sort of late afternoon, and you find yourselves at this general store, the Thrifty Gryphon.
Let's go in.
You enter, and the store is pretty well kept. You see that there is an enormous amount of material displayed behind a counter, either in containers or sacks or pouches hanging from the wall. Behind the counter, you see an elderly, half-elven woman, and she looks at the 4 of you and says, hello, welcome to the Thrifty Gryphon. How can I help you?
We're here to see Belton.
I haven't seen Belton for days.
We should leave, probably.
All right, well, have a lovely day.
Thank you. Good day. We walk right out. I
Yeah.
guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
She hasn't seen him.
This is what you get for doing crime.
Well, what we got for doing crime seems to be a lot of gold and some other things. So, where does this leave us?
Is it just a store? Like,
Yeah, it's just a store.
so it's like there's not a plausible reason why we would just be hanging out in there.
He said he'd be waiting there. He said he was just going to
He said
hang
he would
out.
meet you there.
maybe we should not be here. Maybe we should come back later.
I may have a way to find this person.
Oh, that's great.
Gwyven would like to use something called Urban Denizen, where he can make an investigation check to learn the location of, at the narrator's discretion, a helpful clue to a trail of a person by discreetly asking around.
So you're going to discreetly ask around in the shop or outside the shop? What are you going to do?
He can go back in, and since he works in a shop himself, he's just going to discreetly talk to the shopkeep about it. If they've seen this Belton fellow, when was the last time? And then if there's a couple patrons, he'll just casually give them some advice on different things they're looking at. And once again, discreetly, just anybody has any clue or hint where he might be.
I've actually got the same feature, Matt. So I'd like to, if I see any passersby or people loitering on the street, I would like to make similar inquiries. If anyone's seen someone matching Belton's description recently.
Gives a DC check here too, Matt.
Yeah. Please tell me what that DC check is, please.
The DC check is 15 if the individual is not hiding, 20 if they're trying to conceal their location.
Does it give you a specific check to use?
Investigation.
Excellent. So go ahead and let's make your rolls, and then we'll play from there.
Mercury's going to give himself guidance on this before he starts talking to people.
Going to use his intelligence, his knowledge of different things in the store.
Okay, I'll tell you what, since I haven't used it and it's probably about to run out, I'm going to use that feature that I gave myself, the Unfickle Fate feature, to re-roll my terrible investigation check.
All right, go for it.
That's still 14.
15 if he's not hiding, 20 if he is.
Gwyven rolled a 7.
You don't know Northminster too much, so asking around, these people sort of give you the cold shoulder a little bit. So unfortunately, Belton is, this location at this point in time is unknown.
When I ask the shopkeep, can I do an insight check? I just want to see if she's lying.
Sure, yeah. I mean, she says, I don't know where he is. And you can do an insight check.
25.
She is lying, unfortunately.
Fireball.
Okay, so I thank her and then head outside.
Before you leave, she says,
Dearie, is there anything that you want to buy? I've got lots of things here in the shop. It's up to you.
Oh, I ask her if she has little tools for making things like locks and working on locks. So discreetly asking for a thieves kit.
She says, oh, you're one of those. She gives you a wink.
I've got it, if you want it.
She sort of like draws her finger in a circle on the countertop.
We don't have much call for that around here.
Okay. How much?
I will give it to you, my dearie.
She sort of like leans over.
For 10 gold. Just 'cause I like dwarves.
Done. He'll buy it.
Oh, goody gumdrops.
She sort of licks her lips and looks at you.
Wow,
Ooh.
she's super creepy. Oh,
No,
yeah,
give her the candy.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not there. I'm sorry. I'm not.
So
No, he thought of it. He said, "Oh," at the same time.
I did. As soon as she said that, I said candy. Violet, come in.
Oh, yes. Hello.
Do you have a gumdrop for my friend here?
Oh, wait a second. Is this your... And she puts up her fingers.
Friend? I don't know if this is a good idea.
Why?
You don't like gumdrops?
Oh no, I just don't like competition.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Frankly, I'm not into. I don't really, we're just friends.
All right. And she smiles and she's got rotten brown teeth.
Yeah, he's all yours. But I do have a gumdrop if you'd like it. I had more, but one of my friends really likes gumdrops, so they took most of them. But I have some, and I'll hold the bag open, and I'll sort of like drop some in the palm of her hand, and I try to save one from falling all the way out and put it back in my pocket.
She grabs it and I'd say one of them like drops on the floor and rolls, and she just picks it up off the floor and she dusts it off and she says,
I love these. I haven't had one of these in so long.
She pops it right in her mouth.
Don't mind.
So, if you know anything about Oh, our dear friend Belton. You could probably have a few more.
Make a persuasion check with advantage because you gave her candy.
Oh, by the way, I have a skill called flattery. You are an amazing shopkeep.
That's all he says. Wow. He's not really a flirt. He doesn't know how to flirt.
Yeah, that's fair.
I rolled a total of 19.
He says, well, that's what I do. I'm the best shopkeeper in the whole city. You can put that one in the bank. Well, you seem on the up and up. I guess you do actually know Belton. You can't trust anyone in this city anymore. Belton said that he's going to go and repossess a covered wagon and a horse. He says he needs to get out of town real quick. Tell no one about it.
And where would we find this covered wagon?
Oh, I don't know. He didn't tell me nothing about that. He did say he was going to be around. I don't know when.
Well, where would one rent or buy a covered wagon or a horse around here?
Oh, I don't think he was renting it, dearie. I think he was, oh, well, we don't talk about such things around here.
Going to acquire it.
Exactly.
Matt, having struck out outside, I'd kind of like to case the building, like I walk 360 around it. I'm looking to see if I see Belton anywhere.
So as this is happening, Tlingbet will actually go with Mercury and go ahead with what we see around the back, and then I have a thing that I will probably be doing.
Well, do your thing now. Why not?
Tlingbet, as long as we are in daylight, is actually quite a bit better at investigation and perception. Basically, he's going to look around as we are walking around with his extra sharp, sunlight-sensitive eyes.
Go ahead and make a perception check as you guys sort of walk around the store.
And I will give myself guidance again. With guidance, that's a total of 18 for Mercury.
And despite having wonderful vision in the sunlight, Tlingbet only has a total of 7.
Oh man.
I hate that when that happens.
Eyes are still adjusting.
Kind of squints a little bit.
Mercury, as you and Tlingbet walk behind the thrifty griffin, there is a big stack of crates that are piled up. They do have some sort of cans that are poking out of a hole in the side. With that 18 perception roll, you're able to hear the sound of something that you haven't heard really a whole lot in this area of town, which is the sound of a horse and potentially something being carted behind it. As you turn in that direction, you do happen to see a covered wagon, and it is being drawn by a single, rather shaggy mare, and it is being driven by Belton. And he sees you and he sort of looks around. He is hiding, but not that well. He's sort of in a cloak, and he has a couple of cloaks in the front seat with him. And as he comes into view, he sort of waves.
Since I've got the disguise, I wave back. I start heading for Belton, and I sort of sotto voce to Tlingbet. I say, time to go. Can you round everyone up?
Tlingbet sighs heavily, says, I will go find the others. And heads back to the front and pokes his head in the front of the store. Hey, come on, without any further explanation.
Right.
My love. He blows her a kiss and he runs out the door.
She grabs it in the air and holds it to her heart. She's like,
I knew it was love at first sight.
I will head for Belton, and
he looks down at you and he's like,
Who are you?
I say, oh, Belton, it's me, your friend, Mercury. I lift up my hat to show the horns. Brilliant, isn't it?
What a convincing disguise.
Don't tell everyone I'm in disguise. I pull the hat back down.
Here, pass them amongst yourselves.
and he throws out 4 brown cloaks with hoods.
Start pulling my brown cloak on.
Yep, Tlingbet pulls the hood forward to conceal his face.
He says, just head in the back. And it's a little tight quarters, but I think you'll be okay.
You guys look in the back of the covered wagon, and the vehicle is actually kind of packed. You see there are about 20 or 30 bedrolls.
And he says, just find a place under them, around them, through them, inside them. I don't care. Just, it's easy to just, conceal yourself.
We've all been there. I start burrowing into them.
Tlingbet immediately burrows into the blanket pile.
Yep.
once we're underneath, I say, Slingback,
Yeah.
I'm sort of feeling guilty about maybe not giving Belton all his money. And
Did you give Belton any money?
no, but I think that he's going to a lot of trouble, you know? I'm having an attack of conscience, and I need you to talk me down.
Is he lying?
Make an insight check.
And I'm going to use my detect lies.
Are you deceiving potentially, or are you actually speaking from the heart here?
I'm actually speaking from the heart.
Slingbet just assumes that you are, in fact, being honest anyway. Looks you earnestly in the face and says, you need to do the right thing.
I say, yes, perhaps when we've arrived at wherever he's conveying us to.
Yes, like, let's make sure he's not selling us out to the guards first.
Yes, right. Well thought.
As you nestle yourself into the back of the wagon, he sort of turns back to the four of you and he says, all right, now just keep your heads down. Oh, and who has my money?
I say, I've got it. It's all here, Belton. Perhaps when we've got a safe place to settle up.
Okay, how about the U-Claw?
Yeah, I've got the U-Claw here. It doesn't smell very good.
Yeah, could you just hand it off? Just pass it off. Trust me, I'm going to need it.
All right, my hand sticks out of the pile and with the fistful of U-Claw.
Okay, he grabs the satchel of U-Claw. He says, okay, just keep quiet and everything will be fine. And then he goes, all right, Ramidos, let's go. And you hear the sound of the reins snapping against the hindquarters of the shaggy mare that drives this carriage forward. And concealed amidst all the bedrolls and darkness of your current situation, the wagon begins tenuously rattling along the cobblestone street, leaving you with only your hushed breath and the tenseness of your thoughts. So a few minutes pass until the wheels roll to a slow stop as you hear a gruff voice say,
Hey there, Belton. Leaving town a bit early for you, eh?
And Belton replies, yeah. Had a good deal on these bedrolls. You know how it is.
Nice. The classic bedroll bluff.
He says, by the way, I snagged you. I snagged you some of that U-Claw. And the guard says in a hushed reply, he says,
You're safe there, Belton. Can't keep awake with these shifts. I need a dose of the old stuff, if you know what I mean. Hey, listen, Belton, I can't pass you along. Not with them cultists. Gotta check every wagon, captain's orders.
Belton sounds as comforting and smooth as silk as he responds, I'm really sorry to do this. And then he snaps the reins and drives the wagon forward. And just after a moment of shouts and thuds, he yells backwards to you,
Could use a hand here!
What do you do?
What?
So we're moving?
The wagon is going at a full tilt.
Okay.
Yeah, my head pops up from the bedrolls. I look at, what's going on.
Belton has one hand on the reins and another on his leg. And you see that there is a spear sticking from his leg. And the wagon is going just straight down the street, hurtling at a full tilt. This mare, who he called Rummy Nose, is absolutely streaking down the street.
Who knows how to drive a wagon?
Great question. I burst out of the pile, and I'm actually going to try to get off a healing word on Belton.
We're going to roll initiative.
Okay.
Now, rolling initiative in A5e is a little different from normal 5e in that you can roll initiative using any skill, not just dexterity. In this case, you are going to make wisdom checks because you're relying on the perception of what's going on to know the right time to reveal yourselves and take action.
Okay.
So go ahead and make your initiative roll using wisdom.
Violet got a 16.
Mercury got a 19.
Gwyven got a 20.
Flingbet got a 3.
Okay, so you guys all sort of emerge from the wagon. As you do so, and your head pops up, you all hear the sounds of the guards behind you as the wagon goes roiling down the street. Let me say that again because there's no such word as roiling.
There is, but wagons don't do it.
Totally not. That is about liquids. I mean, This could be a liquid wagon. As the wagon goes careening down the street, you all pop your heads out and you all are able to see the door that you all emerged from that brought you down to the catacombs.
I know, Redwall Alley.
That's right.
Okay.
You're all able, with your passive perceptions, mainly because the man who has emerged from the catacombs is just screaming in pain and sadness. And he is wearing shining armor, and he is holding in his arms the body of Annika Crestvale. And he is overcome with grief. You all just streak by him, and the guards are running after the wagon, his eyes brimming with tears, meet yours, all four of you, and he lays his sister gently on the street, pulls out his sword, and says, "I want those cultists dead!"
Oh, boy.
Thanks very much for listening. This episode featured the Dungeon Master stylings of Matt Gordon, with Tal Aviezer as Mercury, Carolyn Fox as Violet, Rachel Savicki as Tullingbet, and me, Andy Cannistra. Cannister? I can't even say my own name right. And me, Andy Cannistra, as Gwyven. This episode was edited by Carolyn Fox and Tal Aviezer. Our original theme music is by Lauren Anker and Anthony DiMasso. Remember, if you enjoyed Podcast Party, please follow the show, rate us, and leave us a review. Thanks very much for listening. We'll be back in 1 week with the next episode of Descent into Avernus, and in 2 weeks with the next episode of Memories of Holdenshire.